What's up, guys? It's your man Blocker TV. I'm back at you with another video. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel. Hope you're watching the videos all the way through. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, thumbs up button. Leave any comments that you have. If you've been here before and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Make sure you check out all the videos on the channel. Moving on to this video. This video is entitled Bugging In or Bugging Out when SHTF in the hood or in the city. With the increase of all the turmoil that's going on in this country, a lot of people online are talking about bugging in and bugging out. And it's all people, most of them are, it's all about getting away from the cities, getting out into the rural areas, getting out into the countryside and all that. And for a lot of people in the urban communities, in black communities, that's just not an option for several reasons. Some being financial, some being logistical, some being racial, some, different factors play into why being from an urban community, bugging out to like these remote locations and all of that is just not even possible. So for those people who can't bug out or bug in the middle of nowhere, then there has to be an option. At some point, if things hit the fan, you're going to have to bug in or bug out. In the urban communities, seeing as though there's a lot of apartment buildings, high rises, and a lot of vacant properties, bugging in is going to be the best option in most cases, but then there will be situations where you can bug out. Places that you can bug in SHTF situation in the hood, in the urban communities, is in your building. If you're living in an apartment building, in your building, in your apartment. If you're in a house, in your home, you want to stay as put as possible and protect your domicile, protect what you have, already where you are. You want to stack up, stash up, and be prepared in that location, because that's your neck of the woods and nobody knows your neck of the woods better than you do. So you're able to defend yourself from the best possible means by being staying put and staying out of sight, but doing it where you are the most comfortable being. When it comes to bugging out, options in these communities or in the hood are, pretty limited, but you're not out of options. Certain areas, there's a lot of vacant buildings and apartments where you can, you take these routes all the time, going to work, catching the bus, doing whatever it is you're doing, your day-to-day life, and you see these places, and for years these abandoned places have been there, and you know that they're there. That's a good place for you to, every once in a while stop by. Old school buildings and old hospitals, old churches, all these things are in the hoods, in the urban communities, and they're just sitting there. And a lot of those places will provide adequate places to bug out should you need to leave from where you are. You always want to have an alternate location from where you are to have somewhere else to get away, even if it's just to let things die down for a day or two or a few days. Another place to bug out in the urban communities, in the hood, in the inner city, is the downtown areas. In the downtown areas, you have a lot of buildings, and some of these downtowns, they're not built up, but they still have the infrastructure in place. They still have the buildings in place. And guys, there's places that nobody ever gets to visit in these inner cities. If you're downtown and you're walking along the sidewalk and you see those big grates under your feet where you can see way down to the bottom of some of these buildings, those things are there for a reason. A lot of, especially older cities, a lot of older cities are built on top of already existing infrastructure. There's cellars, there's streets, there's in some instances like there's shops, and there's all kind of warehousing spaces and things that lie beneath the streets of a lot of these places. And you would think that there's sewers when they're not. They're just places that were utilized in times past that are no longer utilized. Everything has been modernized and built over them. And I guess it was more economic to build on top of those things than to tear them down and then build on top of them. So they just pave streets over tunnels and over things like that, guys. So there's places that like that exist. And every time you're walking, be circumspect. Keep your head on the swivel, looking around, checking out what's around you, all the things that you could utilize to your benefit. Because, I mean, hard times are coming, and nobody's talking about what you're going to do in the inner city. Everybody's talking about how bad the inner city is and blaming all of this upheaval on the inner city and the people from the hood and, BLM and all of that. I don't subscribe to a lot of this mess, but, the urban community gets a bad rap, and nobody, when it comes to these things bugging out and survival, nobody talks about the people in the urban city as if people who come from that walk are the enemy. And I would say that anybody that thinks that way is the enemy. So, guys, this your man Block, just giving y'all a couple of things to think about. Heads up, SHTF. I mean, at this rate, there's almost nothing that could be done to stop the inevitable. So it's best to be prepared for these things than to just sit back and, wait for the system or somebody to rescue that's never coming. So you have to be prepared to take care of yourself, guys. And I'm going to do more videos on inner city survival and things like that from the urban and hood perspective, guys. So it's your man Blocker TV. Check me on the next one.